James E. Cornette is one of the most polarizing and influential figures in professional wrestling history. As a manager, promoter, booker, and commentator, blending old-school wrestling values with sharp wit and an encyclopedic knowledge of the sport. Loved by purists and loathed by critics, Cornette's legacy is complex, but his contributions to wrestling are undeniable. This video explores his early life, career highlights, booking philosophy, controversies, and lasting impact on professional wrestling. Welcome to Wrestling with Me, the ultimate destination for wrestling fans. Get ready to dive into the world of high-flying action, jaw-dropping moments, and all the drama inside the squared circle. Whether you're here for legendary matches or in-depth analysis, this is the place to be. Don't forget to hit subscribe and ring the bell to stay in the loop as we bring you the best wrestling content every week. Jim Cornette was born on September 17, 1961, in Louisville, Kentucky. A lifelong wrestling fan, Cornette immersed himself in the sport from an early age, developing an extensive collection of wrestling footage and historical records. His passion and knowledge caught the attention of wrestling promoters, leading him to break into the industry as a photographer and journalist. Cornette's big break came in the early 1980s when he was hired by Jerry Jarrett and Jerry Lawler to work in the Continental Wrestling Association in Memphis. His natural ability to cut promos and draw heat led to a transition from behind-the-scenes work to an on-screen managerial role. Cornette rose to prominence as the manager of the Midnight Express, first pairing with Dennis Condrey and Bobby Eaton and later with Eaton and Stan Lane. His brash, fast-talking persona, coupled with his ability to incite crowds, made him one of the most despised managers in the business. With Cornette leading the way, the Midnight Express engaged in legendary rivalries with teams like the Rock and Roll Express, the Road Warriors, and the Fantastics. His use of the tennis racket as a weapon became an iconic staple of his character, and his promos set the standard for heel managers. During his tenure in Jim Crockett Promotions, Cornette played a pivotal role in the tag team division, elevating the Midnight Express to main event status. His ability to craft compelling storylines and generate heat made him an invaluable asset to the company. One of the most infamous moments of Jim Cornette's career occurred at Starrcade 1986 during the scaffold match between the Midnight Express and the Road Warriors. The match, a dangerous spectacle involving wrestlers battling on a narrow scaffold high above the ring, culminated in a moment that changed Cornette's physical well-being forever. As part of the match's dramatic conclusion, Cornette was supposed to take a planned fall from the scaffold, with his landing being cushioned by Ray Traylor's Big Bubba Rogers. However, the timing was off, and Cornette fell awkwardly from a height of nearly 20 feet, missing his intended target. The impact was catastrophic as he landed hard on his legs, completely blowing out both knees upon impact. The injury was severe, requiring multiple surgeries and an extensive rehabilitation period. Cornette has often recounted the excruciating pain he endured and how the incident left him with lasting mobility issues. Despite the severity of the injury, Cornette continued working in the business, adapting his role to accommodate his physical limitations. The accident became one of the most talked-about moments in wrestling history, reinforcing the dangers that performers and managers alike faced in the industry. His dedication to professional wrestling remained unshaken, and he used the experience to further develop his character as a brash, mouthy heel who avoided physical altercations whenever possible. In the early 1990s, frustrated with the direction of mainstream wrestling, Cornette founded Smoky Mountain Wrestling, an old-school promotion that sought to preserve traditional wrestling values. Based in Knoxville, Tennessee, SMW featured a mix of veteran stars and rising talent, including the Rock and Roll Express, Chris Candido, and even a young Glenn Jacobs who would later be known as Kane. In Smoky Mountain Wrestling on August 19, 1993, Jim Cornette participated in a match against Cowabunga, the Ninja Turtle, a character portrayed by referee Mark Curtis. This bout is often highlighted due to Cornette's later criticisms of comedic elements in wrestling. The match featured humorous spots, including Cowabunga performing an arm drag after walking the ropes and a moment where, after being body slammed, Cowabunga struggled on his back, mimicking a turtle and able to right itself. Cornette has addressed this match in interviews, explaining that it was intended as a lighthearted segment to entertain fans. Cornette's booking philosophy emphasized strong heels, heroic babyfaces, and long-term storytelling. Despite producing high-quality wrestling, SMW struggled financially and ultimately closed in 1995. However, the promotion served as a stepping stone for many wrestlers who later became stars in WWE and WCW. Following the closure of SMW, Cornette joined WWE as a manager and later transitioned into a backstage role. He managed the British Bulldog, Owen Hart, and Vader while also serving as part of the creative team. Cornette played a key role in shaping WWE's mid to late 1990s programming, particularly in developing tag team and mid-card talent. One of Cornette's most significant contributions to WWE was his work in Ohio Valley Wrestling, WWE's developmental territory. As OVW's lead booker and trainer, Cornette helped develop future megastars like John Cena, Randy Orton, Brock Lesnar, and Batista. His insistence on discipline, storytelling, and ring psychology helped OVW become a premier training ground for WWE's future talent. In the 2000s, Cornette worked for Total Nonstop Action Wrestling as an authority figure and backstage producer. While his time in TNA was mixed due to creative differences, he was instrumental in giving credibility to the promotion during its formative years. Cornette also had a stint in Ring of Honor, serving as the promotion's executive producer and booker. However, his time in Ring of Honor was met with criticism from fans who felt that his old-school approach clashed with Ring of Honor's fast-paced, indie-style wrestling. He ultimately left the company, citing creative frustrations. One of Jim Cornette's most significant managerial roles in WWE was his association with Yokozuna. Cornette was paired with the 500-pound Samoan wrestler, who was presented as a dominant sumo-style monster heel. Cornette's expertise in cutting scathing promos and generating heat perfectly complemented Yokozuna's in-ring dominance. His alliance with Yokozuna helped solidify the wrestler's status as a top villain in WWE during the early 1990s. Cornette was instrumental in guiding Yokozuna's career, helping him feud with top stars such as Bret Hart, Lex Luger, and The Undertaker. Their partnership was a perfect blend of psychology and presentation, with Cornette serving as the mouthpiece for the soft-spoken Yokozuna. Cornette's ability to build heat through promos added to Yokozuna's intimidating presence, making him one of the most dominant forces in WWE. Despite Cornette's deep respect for Yokozuna, their working relationship eventually faded as WWE's creative direction shifted. However, Cornette has frequently spoken highly of Yokozuna in interviews, crediting him as one of the most agile and talented big men in wrestling history. One of the most notorious rivalries in professional wrestling is not between wrestlers but between Jim Cornette and former WWE and WCW writer Vince Russo. Cornette has been one of Russo's most vocal critics, openly condemning his booking philosophy and storytelling methods. Cornette believes that Russo's influence on professional wrestling led to the decline of traditional storytelling, replacing it with shock value, over-the-top gimmicks, and nonsensical angles. Cornette's disdain for Russo dates back to their time in WWE, where Russo's writing clashed with Cornette's old-school philosophy. The animosity grew when Russo took creative control in WCW, implementing erratic booking decisions that Cornette found ridiculous. Their feud escalated into personal attacks, with Cornette frequently using his podcast to express his loathing for Russo. Cornette has even claimed that if he ever saw Russo in person, he would physically assault him. Despite the hostility, the Cornette-Russo feud has become a legendary part of wrestling discourse. Many fans side with Cornette, arguing that Russo's booking tarnished professional wrestling's credibility, while others appreciate Russo's willingness to innovate. Regardless, their feud highlights a deep philosophical divide in wrestling, with Cornette standing firmly as a defender of the old-school approach against Russo's chaotic and entertainment-driven style. Cornette is known for his blunt and often controversial opinions. His outspoken nature has led to feuds with wrestlers, promoters, and even fans. He has been critical of modern wrestling trends, particularly high spots, comedy wrestling, and the influence of companies like AEW. One of his most infamous incidents occurred in 2019 when he made a controversial remark during an NWA broadcast, leading to his resignation. His comments, while often intended to be humorous, have drawn accusations of being outdated, offensive, or out of touch with the evolving wrestling landscape. Despite his polarizing opinions, Cornette remains a respected historian and analyst. His podcast, The Jim Cornette Experience, continues to be a popular platform for discussing wrestling history and industry critiques. Jim Cornette's impact on professional wrestling is multifaceted. As a manager, he helped define what it meant to be a heat-seeking heel. As a booker and promoter, he preserved traditional wrestling values while developing new talent. While his views may not align with the modern wrestling landscape, his influence on storytelling, psychology, and character work remains significant. For fans of classic wrestling, Cornette represents a bygone era where larger-than-life characters and logical booking ruled the day. For critics, he is an outdated relic and willing to adapt to change. Regardless of perspective, Jim Cornette's contributions to wrestling history are undeniable. James E. Cornette stands as one of the most fascinating and divisive figures in professional wrestling. His ability to entertain, book compelling stories, and develop future stars cements his place in the industry's history. Love him or hate him, Jim Cornette is a true wrestling mastermind whose influence will be felt for generations to come. Well, that's all we've got time for today, and a big thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of our future content. See you in the next video.